We started out that morning just like any other morning on a weekend. Our biggest thing that day is we wanted to get beans planted, so Carter and I took off, went down to another farm that we rent. He wanted to take the tractor down the hill, and I was taking a side-by-side down the hill, and I could tell when I was starting to lose sight of him as he turned the corner, headed down the steepest part of the hill, that he was going a little faster than what he normally does.
I was coming down. I knew I was coming pretty fast. So what happened is I couldn't get my foot down on the clutch, so I couldn't downshift.
And I took off trying to catch up behind him with the pickup that I was driving, and I got closer and closer to him, and he was just kept picking up speed and faster, and he made it through a narrow set of gates, and as it comes down to the end of the lane, there's an LP tank down there at the bottom. The front left tire of the tractor hit the LP tank, and that's what caused the tractor to roll.
And I was going straight for the LP tank. I just closed my eyes and said everything's gonna be all right. I knew our dad was gonna be there to save me.
And when I got there, he was underneath the tractor's steering column, had him pinched down. I tried pulling him out underneath of it. That's when Phil come running down the hill.
I was sitting in the home office doing some stuff on the computer and heard a commotion outside, and just from the feeling that I had it was Carter. In a split second, I jumped up, ran down to where the tractor was sitting.
When he came out of the house that morning, he was barefoot, and he had to run about 300 feet on nothing but rocks, and right away he went running for the skid loader to lift that off of Carter.
Once got the skid loader, we picked the tractor up and then moved things around. And
I had grabbed Carter and carried him off just away from things a little bit so we could get the pickup out and cleared the path, and like that, we were gone, headed for Guttenberg. Well, he had a lot of internal bleeding. He wasn't doing very well at all. And they had started, of course, by then giving him blood transfusions. And their plan was to get him in med flight and get him to La Crosse. And that's where the doctors up there did surgery on him, repaired his lungs. He had 3 to 4 broken ribs. Didn't even know he had a broken arm at the time. They'd realized that he's gonna have some major respiratory issues, that we decided to give him a second air flight for that day. About 6 or 7 that evening, we got him headed toward Madison. And that's where he spent 17 days in the hospital. He was actually not unconscious for 7 days before he finally had come to and started breathing on his own. Once he got started going off the respirator and everything, he never looked back and never slowed down a bit. Today, he's your normal 11-year-old kid, active, still loves to help on the farm. He's learned to respect things a little more, and I got a little bit different outlook on things as well.
There's some funny stories about when I was in the hospital. I got the nurses a little mad, and she came in all loud and cranky. She yelled, "We had a noise complaint from this room." And I said, "Yep, that's probably me." That tells you I'm a little sketchy.
I myself am a blood donor. Through his process, I believe he took on like 40-some units between blood and plasma, that without the Red Cross's efforts in keeping that stuff banked for emergencies like this, things could have definitely not been the outcome they were either. Being able to wake up every morning and still have my son with me is my biggest reward of all.